The second part of our reflection is Jesus took and Jesus blessed. Many people will come to me, especially here in Toronto, and say to me, "Father, bless my car." And I will say, "No." And they will say, "What do you mean, no?" I said, "Well, your car has already been blessed. Your tires have been blessed by Michelin. Your steering wheel is done by Toyota. Your bodywork is done by Ford. All of these make good cars and good tires. You don't need more blessings over here, right?" And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a blessing in the tradition of the story of Elijah. Elijah was taken into heaven by God, and I'm going to ask God to bless you the same way as God blessed Elijah. Not to take you into heaven, but to bless you that as you drive your car, as you go forth, you will drive in safety with no harm to others and no harm to yourself. That is the meaning of blessing. When you come to think of the word blessing in Latin is benedicere, to say something good about the people who are around us. So every time I say to somebody, "I like your hairstyle, I like your smile, I like the way you dress," I am blessing that person. And that is a blessing that is very precious. We usually say, and we bless little children when we say, "They look so cute, they're so innocent, they look so beautiful." That is a blessing of people. We bless them all the time and we don't even realize that. To say something is blessed is to say something is good. That is what God did at the beginning of creation. If you read the first chapter of Genesis, every time something is done, God said it is good. That is a blessing. And when it came to men and women, he said, "It is very good." A certain family that I knew said to their son when he was going off to university, "You are going off to university, but whatever happens to you, remember we are always there because you are so special." And that is what God says to each one of us as a blessing. You are very special. No matter what you do, I will always be there for you. And when Jesus took the bread and he blessed it, he gave us that same blessing. No matter what we are, no matter what we have done, Jesus will always be there for us. We can always come back to Jesus. This is what blessings are all about. In Toronto, there is a certain place called Daybreak, run by the large communities founded by Jean Vanier. The place usually has people with handicaps, basically people with Down syndrome. And in this place, the famous writer Henri Nouwen, the late writer Henri Nouwen, was living. And one day, one of the inmates came up to him and said, "Father, would you bless me?" And he said, "Well, I bless you in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy." And she said, No, I don't want that type of blessing. I want a special blessing." And so Henri Nouwen put his hands on her shoulders and he says, "Teresa, you are special and you are blessed. Your beautiful smile brings such joy to this community. You have used this body of yours to be of service to people as they work over here in this community. Your hands have washed the dishes. Your feet have carried the food to them. You do not know what joy and what happiness you have brought to this community. And so I bless you and I thank God for you." Needless to say that as soon as he had finished saying this, the whole lot of people joined. They too wanted not just a blessing, but a special blessing. We just don't want a simple blessing. This special blessing is the blessing that God has given us at the time of our baptism. It's a special blessing that Jesus gives us as he takes the bread and he blesses it and he gives it. That is exactly what we celebrate when the priest goes up to the altar and imitates the actions of Jesus, who said, "Do this in memory of me." The blessing, 2 words. It takes just 3 seconds, but everything that we need in our life happens in that moment. And as we celebrate the Eucharist together, we realize that everyone is specially blessed by God. No one in the whole world can take our place. That person is as precious as the chalice and the paten. The thing that we put the bread on is at the altar. Suppose I took the chalice and went down to a pub and put drank beer from it, the people would be absolutely scandalized, and the Catholics in that group would be shocked, because this is a special vessel for a special purpose. And as the beautiful song says, earthen vessels, they are just made of clay, but they hold within it a treasure that is more precious than gold and diamonds, everything that we have. You and I have been blessed when God said we are special, we are good, we are made in God's image and own likeness. I've even sent an angel to protect you during your whole span of life on this earth. We spend our days contemplating the great event that took place at the Last Supper. Let us simply not forget those simple gestures. When Jesus took the bread, he blessed it, and the world has never been the same. And so now, before I put the Blessed Sacrament on the altar, and I leave it to you for your veneration, I'd like to leave you 3 small gospel passages, and there is a very special blessing in each one of them. The first one and the second are taken from the same event which we will find in Luke's Gospel. A leader of the synagogue, Jairus, comes and says to Jesus, "My daughter is sick and dying. Would you come and touch her and bless her?" And Jesus comes to the house. She's already dead. Jesus takes her by the hand and he says, "Talitha cum," little girl, I say to you, rise up. And Jesus is saying this to each one of us as Jesus touches us and blesses us. If you feel that you're not special, I'm going to touch you in this Eucharist. I'm going to come to you in this Blessed Sacrament, and you are going to be made whole again. You are going to be blessed. The second story I'd like to talk about in this blessing as you come before the Blessed Sacrament is the story of the woman who had a hemorrhage for 12 long years. And she said to herself, if I only touch the garment, I will be made whole again. And she goes up and Jesus says to her, your faith has made you whole. You will be healed. Because he touched me, he healed me. And the Lord is here to do that for you and for me. Whenever we have problems, whenever we have difficulties, all we need to do is to touch the Lord, and Jesus says to us, my son, my daughter, be healed. And the third story I'd like to tell you is the one taken from Mark's Gospel, which I use very often at baptism. When Jesus took the little children in his arms, he blessed them and he gave them back to the parents. The apostles wanted to send these children away, but Jesus said, no, suffer the little children to come unto me. These children are very special. And so Jesus blesses them. And as Jesus gives them, he blesses all the little children out in the world, those born and those yet to be born. They are special because they are a sign to us that God has not lost faith in mankind. To this community, he gives us these children because we are going to be the sources of blessings to those around us. So now, before I put this Blessed Sacrament of the altar, I'd ask you to reflect on these. We ask the Lord to help us to realize that we have been taken by Jesus into his hands, and now we have been blessed in a very special way. God bless you all.